We need a lot of more companies like Flinder. I think we all agree on that. And that's what we do at Brainforest. We are the first for impact venture studio for forest and climate. Now, why do we do that? I will share our model with you and the source of risk capital that we're using. And the reason why we're doing Brainforest, we heard it enough today that we need to take carbon out of the atmosphere. Now, I will not go into details because we heard a lot. We have the 1.5 and 2 degrees scenarios often. And sometimes people ask, but yeah, 0.5 degrees, that does really matter. And we are here in Gstaad on 1,000 meters altitude. And actually, 0.5 degrees can be the difference between the winter wonderland, like we have it a bit today, and the grey village, like we had it yesterday. And actually, this week, on Thursday, will be raining up to 2,200 meters here. So it actually does matter, and obviously here it might be a bit of a luxury problem if it's not beautiful, but actually, we had the glaciers, we heard everything, why this actually matters. Now, we have the climate crisis, and we also have the biodiversity crisis. So we need to tackle those both crises that are happening at the same time. Now, the good news is forests tackle both the biodiversity and the climate crisis. And science is very clear. When we talk about what we need to do until 2030, yes, decarbonization is a crucial part, and forests actually made up a quarter of what we need to do by 2030, because it does take a bit of time until they grow and actually absorb carbon. So those negative curves that also Reto Knutti was showing, towards the net zero, we need to plant it now that actually then it will kick in time. Now, the size of the problem is massive. We need to replant 200 million hectares until 2030 to reach the below 2 degrees goals. And you see here some large European countries that the combined size of this we need to be achieved. And we heard about the problems that there might be competition with land, but actually a recent ETH study found that 900 million worldwide are available that are not competing with food production or other people activity. Now the thing is that we have this size issue, and we have to do this. We have to do replanting at massive scales. This is not tree planting. This is massive scale reforestation at a time where climate is already changing. Now, this is a bit a similar problem that we have like with the coral reefs. We need to actually take trees that are used to dry and hot weather and bring them up north, because the trees that are here, even outside here, they will not survive the warmer and drier climate. Now, nature obviously would, adapt, but this would take millions of years, to have the full-grown forests again, and obviously human race does not have enough time to that. So we need to assist nature to actually move tree species that are fit for, warmer and drier climate up north, because humans are impacting the climate in such a fast pace, as we have seen also on the slides of Reto Knutti this morning. Now, we go about this problem in an entrepreneurial way. We are a venture builder, so we want to create companies that are bringing solutions to this issue. Now, to do that, you need great ideas, you need capital, and you need the right mix of people. So let's talk about ideas. I was, for more than 15 years in sustainability and starting to ask myself if you really have the concepts, the ideas that we can scale fast enough to solve the issues. And after 2 years at WWF, before starting to be really depressed, went to Singularity University in Silicon Valley to look what kind of solutions in technology there are out there and how could we merge that with nature. And the great news is, we heard it now in Flinder. There is drones, satellite, remote sensing, there is machine learning to make sense of the data. There is a lot we can use today to protect nature and to restore nature. So check, that's, ideas, there is enough out there. Well, is there enough capital to actually take this, really to implementation, to execution? So let's have a look at return on investment for risk capital, because we need lots of risk capital. A lot of these things that we will do will be really new and risky stuff. So, if you are an investor in venture capital, you know that things can go wonderfully. You have a 15 times, 20 times return on your investment, but also it can go wrong, minus 100%. Now, there are some people in this room who choose minus 100% from the outset. It's called philanthropy. From a financial perspective, it's nothing else than a minus 100% investment. Now, is there enough? So philanthropic capital actually is the perfect source of risk capital because we might have outcomes that actually fail. So it's used to have minus 100%. Now, is there enough philanthropic capital to tackle the issues? And the answer is clearly no. That's why we need to leverage the philanthropic capital that is available in a very smart way. And that's what we do with the Brainforest model. We take philanthropic capital into the Brainforest Venture Studio, which is a tax-exempt structure. So as a provider of philanthropic capital, you get tax benefits. We build solutions for more forests and a better climate. And as soon as they are investment ready, we spin them off, and they are for-profit, for-impact ventures that attract impact investments. Now, this sounds maybe a bit too good to be true, and it took more than a year with the Swiss tax authorities, not 10 years like our friends with the canton of Vaud, but took more than a year to get this through the tax exemption for this structure. Now we have it in place, and that's a fantastic opportunity. We were actually able to attract 2 million in philanthropic capital and leverage that already to more than 4 million in impact investments to the both ventures. Now, I hope many of you will copy this model, and we are obviously happy to share our learnings. We will take it to the next level now, want to leverage to way more impact investments and eventually fade out philanthropy. We don't want that this model is dependent on philanthropic money. And as we can co-found ventures, that's what we took a long time with the tax authority, so we can co-found ventures and at nominal value, and then actually later on sell part of the shares in higher valuations. And that's how money flows back to the venture studio. Now we had ideas, money, let's talk people. Imagine that you have a business angel, an NGO CEO, an environmental consultant, a board director, board executive, a former investment banker, a professor, and the unicorn founder going into a meeting together. That could be a beginning of a great joke, and actually it's our board meetings. So we were able to attract people from very different areas, from science, from the NGO world, and from the venture building and venture capital world into our model. And it's not always easy. That does create tensions, because it's really different worlds at times and different languages. But it's the creative tension that we need to actually create systemic impact, and that's what we are here. So what were we able to build with the combination of this so far? We built 2 ventures. One is Xilva, a global marketplace that connects capital to forest faster. And the other is a forest carbon certificate that is fully digital using remote sensing and machine learning to make it really efficient and also applicable to smallholder farmer eventually. We started in Germany and are rolling it out. And I see that our friends from Innoterra are nodding. Yes, we have to talk and see how we can scale this. Talking about scaling, so we want to collect this year 10 million in philanthropic capital, and this will be the last philanthropic capital that we are looking for, and start our impact investment pool with 5 million commitments. Now, many of you here are approached for money all the time, and you don't necessarily like that because you have much more to provide. And that's what we are building with the Brainforest ecosystem. You can actually bring your talent, your passion, your ideas, your connections. Maybe you have a company that is looking to provide capital to reforestation. Maybe you are a retired CEO and will coach one of our startup CEOs. So it's really about contributing everything. And Rudi was mentioning before that it's a superpower of human to collaborate. And I think this is exactly what we need to do. We need to collaborate, and this is a wonderful platform. And we can actually copy nature. We heard before how trees send signals, and actually what happens underground, this obviously is a bit a stylish picture, but what happens underground is between tree species, there is trade of carbon. One tree species has in the summer leaves and gets lots of carbon, has abundance, sends it to the other trees that in the autumn still have needles and then send it back. The warning systems we heard before. So there's amazing things happening in the forest, real collaboration that we can also copy here. So I hope that we will all work together on this and create real systemic impact. Thank you.
Leo, wow, that was really, really interesting. Do we have one quick question? Nothing? Come on, yeah. Francisco.
Why do you want to reduce philanthropic capital? I mean, that market segment is growing, Why would you want to prevent that market segment of growing? I mean, you can play the combination of philanthropic capital and for-profit capital.
It's a very good question. So the short answer would be, I would like to see more really high-risk impact investments, so that people take, instead of philanthropic, from the philanthropic topic to the really high-risk impact investments. And yes, this is growing. There's lots of capital there, and that's why we want to move also from a narrative perspective to on the investment side rather than on the philanthropic side. That would be the short answer.
Right.
And yes, I mean, we want that this model obviously is replicated, and we need many of those venture studios that will will require philanthropic capital. We hope that will be enough established that we will not need that resource anymore.
Thank you very much, Leo Caprez.